Hi all, this is Ted Scooter here again. Today I'll be looking at part 2 of my three-part series on fantastic home-based businesses, and what I'll be looking at today is the characteristics of such businesses. Now, I've identified 5 basic characteristics and a 6th characteristic which is basically essential for any business, I believe. Now, firstly, you want low entry costs. You don't want to load yourself up with franchise fees, with equipment costs, with licenses, patent fees, and so forth at the beginning of your business enterprise. You might find that you don't like the business in time, and then you're stuck in it because you've put so much capital into the operation. So be careful with that. Don't spend money at the beginning. You might have to spend money later, but don't do it at the beginning. Secondly, you want low fixed costs. You want to wake up in the morning and find that you've got administration costs that you have to cover, which are there regardless of whether you do business or don't. You don't want your office expenses to be extreme. You don't want leases to manage. You don't want licenses to pay, because really you're in business to make money. So create a situation where you make money as quickly as possible. You also want low operating costs. So even when you are making money, you don't want to hold stock for ages. You don't want to pay staff that have to be paid regardless of whether you make profits or not. Really, you need to make sure that your operating costs are very low. And then the most important factor, you look at profits. People say profits are fantastic, but they are. But if I have to spend money for 5 or 6 months before I get a profit and get paid, say 6-7 months later, it's not really a good business to be in. What I want is to have something whereby if I do something today or I sell something today, I get paid for it tomorrow or even sooner. Now that's fantastic, because that's cash flow. Cash flow is the lifeblood of any business, and focus on the cash flow. Profit's essential, of course, but cash flow is probably the more important one, which gets you over the slow times and the hurdles associated with any business. And when you go into business, you don't want to jump into a business where you have to reinvent the wheel. Go into something that has a proven system. So a business that may already have a website, may already have an accounting system associated with it, may already have a marketing plan, may already have all sorts of bits and pieces that you need to run the business. Because when you're starting up, there's a lot of pressure on you. You're the one who's going to make the business work, and if you have to worry about everything else associated with the business apart from making profits or making money out of the business, it's going to be very difficult for you. And the 6th item, which is basically something related to any product that any person sells or any service that's delivered, a product or services that offers more value to the customer, or much more value to the customer than the cost of that product or service, is a fantastic product and service. It's the basis of a fantastic business. So look for something that is going to be of value to that customer and of great value to the customer. Now, what is this ideal business? Well, the ideal business is the business that continues to bring in income even while you, as the owner, sleeps or is on vacation or decides to retire and does nothing. So what sort of business is that? Firstly, it's a business that gives you residual income. So in other words, if you do the job once or make a sale once, you get paid for it over and over again, as long as the product is being used by the customer. Secondly, leverage. You need to earn off what others do as well as what you do. Basically, if I go out to do something, I can do a job in a particular amount of time. If I have 2 people doing it, I can do it in half the time or less. If I have 3, it's even quicker. So basically, if I can use the capabilities of other people to actually create more revenue for me, it is fantastic. Even though the amount I get out of each job is low compared to what I would have got if I did it myself, I don't need too many people to basically cover my efforts. Then you want something that's going to be compounding. So in other words, if you do the same thing over and over again, and each time you do it, you lock in more and more residual income. And also, because it's compounding, the income increases as time passes and prices increase. If inflation goes up, the cost of a product increases, the cost of a service increases, and basically everything's put in place and you're actually receiving more and more money as you go along. So the three very critical factors. Now, what are examples of such businesses? Well, I won't go into those now. In part 3, I'll look at 3 businesses I am in or have been involved in personally that provide some or all of these characteristics. Okay, now I've got to fly off, and I'll catch up with you in part 3. Bye to all.